truth. You can't handle the truth.
Hello folks, Brother Jim reporting here. Breaking news, President Trump announces the FBI and DOJ will review outrageous Jussie Smollett case in Chicago. An embarrassment, a travesty to Lady Justice. On Tuesday, all 16 felony counts were dropped against Jussie Smollett in exchange for a $10,000 bond and a few hours of community service at Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Push Coalition in a stunning display of lawlessness by corrupt Chicago prosecutors. Smollett still could face federal charges for the threatening letter he sent himself 1 week before he staged the fake MAGA hate crime. Don't hold your breath. Not until this investigation over Kim Foxx is. And you know what I believe? This is what you call blatant corruption. With Kim Foxx paid off $408,000 by George Soros. This is blatant corruption leading to George Soros. Blatant corruption paying off the black people to do corrupt things in our government. Blatant corruption in your face. I will stop it now. Even though all the crime, all the evidence that is all about Jussie Smollett and what he did. He has nothing to stand on for his defense. So this, hold on a second. There we go. So this proves that we're at a turning point with the deep state. They're getting more and more blatant now with their crimes. And another thing you need to realize here is that Trump's asking for the DOJ and FBI to investigate it, but who's running that? Well, we have a new Department of Justice Attorney General William Barr, but we still have Rod Rosenstein. He's supposed to be leaving because he knows he's in trouble for attorney assistant. I think it's deputy of the FBI. And then you have Christopher Wray, who replaced Comey, who doesn't really do nothing. He's just a figment of him. He doesn't really do nothing. He hasn't done anything to help out making America great again. So he's like controlled resistance, okay? So don't expect a lot out of this DOJ and FBI investigation. I'm just warning you. CWB Chicago obtained the police files on Jussie Smollett's case through a FOIA request. However, once it was realized that the records were part of the judge's order to seal all records, it stopped the release of documents going forward. Now, they already released the records. You can find them easily online here at Gateway Pundit, what has happened so far, but not any new records have been. So any more release of new records of Jussie Smollett are now being blocked. Plus, on top of that, Jussie Smollett's lawyers are actually thinking about suing the Chicago Police Department. Can you believe this one? This is what you call blatant corruption. Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx defended her office's decision to drop charges against Smollett as standard operating procedure for someone charged with Class 4 felonies. Chicago police are furious over Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx's decision to drop all charges against Jussie Smollett. Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie T. Johnson said in a presser on Tuesday that prosecutors brokered a deal in secret to circumvent the judicial system. So anyway, this is the same thing we've heard on Thursday morning. President Donald Trump weighed in on the Smollett case for the first time. The president tweeted the FBI and DOJ will review the outrageous case that is an embarrassment to the nation. So it's official. The feds are stepping in. It is official. And the Chicago police already asked that the feds step in because the state prosecution is definitely corrupt. So, you know, Kim Foxx, you started all this. You started all this. This was a small can of worms over here, Jussie Smollett. Now you've opened up a larger, bigger can of worms of corruption. Far bigger. And my guess, this is going to help destroy the left again. And And hopefully this brings George Soros down to his knees with law enforcement. Fireworks. Crooked leader liar Adam Schiff cuts mic on Representative Turner after opening remarks on Intel Committee. This was wild. The House Intelligence Committee met on Thursday for the first time since the release of the Mueller report on Sunday. The House Republicans all signed a letter calling on corrupt leaker liar Representative Adam Schiff to resign from the committee in their opening remarks. Schiff followed this up with a fresh pack of lies, saying there was collusion between Trump and Russia again. That Trump was working with the Russians before the election, and that Trump was working with Putin to build a Trump Tower in Moscow during the election. None of this is true or factual. Adam Schiff continues to lie to the American public. After his remarks, the GOP member on the committee, Mike Turner, asked to refute the chairman's baseless claims. The two started to argue, then Schiff decided to cut his microphone off. Wait a minute. Isn't that just like my mouth being shut up on YouTube? Yes. You see, now we see free speech being taken away in the House of Representatives, in the House Intel Committee. Can you believe this one? This is how crazy our three parts of our government is getting.
I think it's okay that his attorney lied to our committee. There's a different word for that than collusion, and it's called compromise. And that is the subject of our hearing today. Mr. Ambassador, you are recognized for your opening statement. I will not yield. Mr. Ambassador, you
gentlemen, yield because you just made some things about all of us that I think we all should get the opportunity to respond to. If you're going to say we think, you ought to allow us to speak of what we think.
You can use your 5 minutes to speak. You attacked me in your opening statement, and I respect it.
I have not had an opportunity to respond at all, especially to your statements of what we think, because no one over here thinks that. No one over here. You cannot speak for us. You cannot speak for us.
Ms. Turner, you're not recognized. Ambassador McFaul, you're recognized.
You notice Adam Schiff's eyes got real big?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member Nunes and everybody else that's here today. I want to start with some good news. The ideological struggle
This is very real. It is still very fresh. We are only 5 days removed from the findings of William Barr as to what he concluded based on the Mueller report that was released on Sunday afternoon. What the Republicans have just done in the House Intelligence Committee, all 9 Republican members have signed a letter demanding the immediate resignation of Adam Schiff, the chairman of this committee, from the committee chair position. This is something that Kellyanne Conway first talked about on Monday. Many other Republicans have joined that chorus day after day this week. The president even chiming in last night in that interview with Sean Hannity, expecting the same.
The hammer of justice is starting to come to Adam Schiffhead, the Rothschild boy. Yeah. Praise the Lord. All right, now I want to show you something else in the book of Revelation for a final on this. In Revelation 17, I've talked about this before. Now we know that the whore who rides the beast has committed abominations and fornication with inhabitants of the earth, and have made her drunk, or made them drunk with the wine of her fornication. This whore is described way down by here. The woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So the whore is actually a city, and that is Rome, the Vatican, who is the false prophet, I believe right now, is the Pope, and will usher in the Antichrist, and then the Satan will be manifested in the flesh at the mid-tribulation point, just like Revelation 12 is in the exact middle where Satan is kicked out of heaven by Michael the archangel. The exact middle between Revelation 6 and Revelation 18, which is a depiction of the 7 years of great tribulation. Exact middle, 13 chapters. The exact middle would be Revelation 12. All right, so here we have these 10 horns, but these 10 horns are 10 kings, as it says right here in Revelation 17, verse 12, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive powers as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and they shall give their power and strength unto the beast, which is Satan at the end. These shall make war with the Lamb, who is Jesus Christ, and the Lamb shall overcome them. Jesus will win, of course, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. Now I want to stop right there. Now, why would God call a city a whore? Well, he told you why. But I wanted you to understand one more thing about a woman. Why would God call this city a whore? Well, fornications, which is likened unto having sex without marriage, right? Without the institution of God-given marriage. But the point here is this, is that what happens when a whore sits on you? Well, I'm going to ask you this without being graphic. What happens when a whore who's had sex with many people and multitudes, what happens to her? She kind of stinks, huh? Are you following me? I know it's kind of graphic, but you see, God is very factual and exact in his words, okay? Of course, she stinks. She stinks to high heaven God, the throne of God, right? Because she's going to usher in the Antichrist and Satan. But the point here is this. Why would God call her a whore? And that she sits on people. What happens when a whore sits on you? Well, obviously she's having sex with you. But see, in this scripture right here, she's having sex with multitudes of people, which makes her a whore. You see? You see, God is also calling sin like a disease here, likened unto a disease. It's filthy, it's nasty, and it's spread all over the world. You see what I'm saying? So I just want you to see that, how important that is. Okay? But then God says, I have put in their hearts to fulfill his will. What is his will? His will is that the 10 kings, which are the 10 horns, which thou sawest upon the beast, which is Satan, these shall hate the whore. You see, the whore is that city, and it's going to be burned, and eat her flesh, and burn her with fire, and make her desolate and naked. You see? This desolate and naked is the same word desolate that God's wrath is poured out with an all-consuming fire in Daniel 9 verse 27, and those appointed to desolation. You see? Thank you for listening. May the Lord bless. Let me be serious with you. I would rather that you donate to my ministry directly. I cannot survive financially to keep this ministry and news service going without your help. And we all know there are plans to shut me down again. But many of you would like to receive a gift or product as a token of my appreciation. And I don't blame you. Isn't it about time Uncle Sam started paying you instead of you paying him? It is about time. The federal government pays you your rent check. The government rents out thousands of buildings instead of buying them every year. This is all funded by the current $11.1 billion building fund in our budget. Get your free federal rent check today. Sign up with the Federal Millionaire information here down below. Become a shareholder to receive federal rent checks for life by making a one-time investment as a shareholder. An IRS ruling declares this to be totally legal. This is no joke, no scam, and been for many years. The longer your name is on the distribution list, the larger your federal rent check grows. As inflation rises along with real estate, the government pays you more every year. Starting out as little as $1,800 a month would be your rent check. Wouldn't that be nice to receive every month a rent check like that? The federal government continues to raise your income as inflation rises. This puts an end to retiring with a fixed income that leaves you going broke as you get older. This will put a major dent in those people who hate their home taxes going up every year, wouldn't it? And folks, the price for this valuable information will cost you only $39 a year or $79 for a 2-year membership. Sign up today.